In this video, we're going to cover 3 concepts that most curriculums either don't spend enough time on or skip teaching completely. Topic 1. Keep it simple. As much as most of us enjoy writing complex training programs and coming up with new and creative ways to reach specific training goals, most of our athletes and training populations aren't ready for that style of training. The kind of training plans that we see tailored for each individual athlete on a pro team, who have their nutrition dialed in and their sleep and recovery monitored, are something that most of us dream about. Most often, strength coaches end up working with athletes who have minimal to moderate lifting experience in a setting that has a high athlete-to-coach ratio. So we end up having to come up with plans that fit the majority of our athletes rather than the few superstars. Now, that's not to say that we don't individualize plans. Most of our individualization, though, is going to come from changing the weight based off of someone's maxes, or making modifications and regressions for those who aren't ready for the progression that the majority can do. An example of this would be doing a TRX or a goblet squat in front of a front squat. Topic 2. Building relationships. To a strength coach, building relationships means both gaining the trust of your athletes and those in charge of your athletes. It would be great if we could just befriend the head coach and that would automatically be smooth sailing with the team. That'd be great. However, that's not the case usually. It certainly helps to befriend the coach, but you gotta gain the trust of your athletes. A lot of athletes are skeptical of strength coaches, especially those that aren't established yet, and especially with athletes who've never worked with a strength coach before. The athlete is trusting their body to the coaching staff to come up with the correct training plan for them that's going to put them at the top of their game. Answers like, because I said so or because I'm the coach, don't fly so well with today's athletes. Being able to relate an exercise to that individual sport is a great way to start building trust. It tells them, I understand the demands of your sport, even if that's not the sport that I grew up playing. I think my favorite example of this is I had a softball player question, why do I need to do this exercise? And it was a lateral goblet squat. From a coaching perspective, it's a practical exercise to program for a large number of athletes using minimal amount of equipment to make sure we hit the hip stabilizers. But the athlete's not going to care about that. That doesn't tell them why they need to do it. The athlete's going to respond a lot better because sometimes you have to shuffle sideways or lunge out to reach for a ground ball. They're going to go, oh, that makes sense. I do that. Coach understands my sport. Topic 3. Genetics play a huge role in what someone's movement pattern is going to look like. We all have our go-to ways to teach the basic movement patterns. Oftentimes, we model our teaching approach to a professor or a coach that really clicked with us. However, we really have to remember that everybody's movement pattern is going to look slightly different. We can think of this like a normal curve in statistics, that most people are going to fit in the first 2 standard deviations to either side of the average, and the normal explanation and cues that we use will work. But we have to remember that we're working with human beings and not robots. Humans are a species with a diverse gene pool and traits that can be expressed quite far from what is considered normal. Just take the squat stance, for example. Most coaches will say feet under shoulders or feet slightly outside your hips with your toes pointed slightly out. Just this setup, the foot position, before someone actually starts the movement part of a squat, can be drastically impacted by age, gender, the depth of the acetabulum, which often can be related to their genetic origins. And this is before we even start to look at the muscle recruitment, the strength ratio between the quad and the hamstring and the glutes, and how long their torso is. So these genetic factors or individual factors are going to play a role in what their final movement pattern or their ideal movement pattern is going to look like. Click the link hovering here to find out more about the importance of keeping it simple in the weight room. Let me know in the comments below what topics you want me to cover next, and please hit that like and subscribe button so we can share this information with more people. Thanks for watching and have a great day. Bye!